Peace and blessings, y'all. What's up? It's your girl, Zayne Spirit, here on the Living in Spirit podcast. What a beautiful, magnificent day. Like, what a great day to just wake up and be alive. Like, to breathe it in, to breathe in the joy. Like, woof, I'm living for it. And for those who are listening, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for, suggesting people that you want to hear on Living in Spirit. Um, we hear you. We're listening, So if you want to be a guest, if you have something that you're sharing to the world, something that you're showcasing, something that Spirit is guiding you into in your soul-led purpose, feel free to email us at global@gmail.com or management@souldriveglobal.com. Both of those emails work. And just make sure you put Living in Spirit podcast in the subject line. But we're also listening to our listeners. So if you have topics that you want to bring to the forefront or things that you want to hear, perspective that you want broadening conversation about, let's have it. Like, it's definitely this is definitely the space for that. This is the space for our community to thrive in. So and if you're actually watching this broadcast, thank you. Spotify put us in as one of the first podcasts to be featured in video podcasting. So, but we're also uploading these on our YouTube. So if you want to actually watch this broadcast as it's going down, feel free to search us in YouTube at Soul Drive Global. So, or you could just type in Living in Spirit, it shows up. We definitely thriving and jiving in that thing. um, in other news too, like we've actually moved our bi-weekly newsletter into a monthly newsletter, so there's more that we are offering you guys at the beginning of every single month. So make sure you're subscribed to souldriveglobal.com. You're getting in on that. We also have a sacred space that is a tab. It's a password protected tab on souldriveglobal.com that has spirit wisdom, sound healings, just different topics that a lot of y'all want me to elaborate on, different techniques for you to use. My energetic BBL is on there, so a lot of people get on there for that. But also recipes, alkaline and plant-based recipes. So there's lots of different variations of things and that good juice that y'all like, that's available on the sacred space. And all you got to do is subscribe. Just subscribe. It's free. Just subscribe to the email, or you could subscribe to our free text service as well. So we're putting that number in the description box. It's free. You get affirmations, weekly readings, check-ins. You get support, which I'm always there and present for. And I'm really just grateful for the support that we have gained. Like, man, y'all are amazing. We have just progressively I've just progressively connected with more and more beautiful people that is just in alignment with this divine vision. And thank you, Spirit Team. For real. Thank you, ancestors. Like, woo, y'all out here changing the game. We out here changing the game. So I'm really blessed, really grateful for that. I'm in this beautiful, radiant, abundant energy, this creative space. I have partnered up and brought on some assistants for me this year, so I'm excited for that. If y'all see me posting more, it's because I got help. I'm able to create more, be in my own creative space. So lots of beautiful things are unfolding during this season. And, that like really leads me into the topic of, partnering in purpose. Because if I see this a lot, so I want to actually address this from two different perspectives, from a quote unquote business perspective. So I use business kind of loosely, because I don't believe that what I do is an actual business, but it's my purpose. Um, and we're a pillar. We're a pillar for the community, so it's not something that I look as, this is corporate America. Like, that's not me at all, and I've never actually fit into the business mold, but I've always done quote unquote business, so like that's been something that I've been researching, finding, breaking my way into since I was 16. So a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience in the quote unquote business world, and most importantly, making my like traveling through my own lane in partnership and what that means for me, and in purpose. Most importantly, like intentionally in purpose, like I wouldn't be doing anything that I do, nor would I have been doing anything that I was doing with Imprinted Souls back in the day, without being spirit led. Like I wasn't as spirit led when I was doing Imprinted Souls, but it was all spirit led, none the same, like nonetheless. um Even when I didn't consciously realize it, it was still intentional. It was still from, the soul's expression. So, I have a lot of experience in that. And, you know, I want to talk about it from the quote unquote purpose level. But I also want to talk about it from a divine union perspective. And I believe that those go hand in hand. Um, and what I mean by that is, there's a lot of conversation about 2022. All of those twos, you can clearly see like two is a partnership number, right? And so, we have to look at it in all angles. We can't just address partnership as, bringing two energies together, or energies together in one sense. Like I think it's important that we recognize, like, what is the root of partnership? What are those foundations? What does that build on? And that goes into 2022 actually being six, the six number. So I talked about it briefly in the previous podcast, but um like the two energy, we talk about divine partnership and that two energy this year, but I've actually seen a lot of people, recognizing and remembering who they are, and then letting go of a lot of partnerships this year, to bring harmony into their home, harmony into their creative space, harmony into their bodies, into themselves, like just like we are reconstructing the home, like the home is also the vessel. Even in astrology, we think about house number 6, that's health. Like if your health is wealth. So if your health is not in good shape, like that's reflecting of your spirit. And so, like working or partnering in divine purpose is so important. Whether it's on a romantic level, a friendship level, platonic, quote unquote business, like it doesn't matter what it is. It has to be in divine alignment. Divine alignment. Like we can't force, if we begin to force relationships or connections or anything to mesh, like, I mean, they're gonna mesh, you're gonna get an outcome, but the outcome most likely is not going to resonate with what you actually is, gonna be doing in the long run. I mean, it's gonna be more of a lesson than anything, which there's blessings in that, ain't nothing wrong with experience. Experience. Okay, we love some experience. But if you don't have to go that route, if you utilize your discernment and your intuition, you most likely are going to navigate outside of those spaces that require you to go through more experience than you have to, right? So like if you've already gained the knowledge and the wisdom for it, like why execute it, physically? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But overall, like what I've seen in this space of divine partnership and creating is that we have to make room. We have to make room for whatever outcome we are bringing forth, whatever creation we are looking to co create with partnership. We have to be ready for the responsibility that comes with that, the consequence, and, to take ownership of that too. But I see a lot of people taking ownership for everybody's side and not just their own, or they lack ownership entirely. So, like, finding the balance in that definitely comes with experience. But it's, that experience is what you make it. But I really say all that to say that when, from a romantic level, and just like a platonic partnership level in general, outside of that, like, it still aligns in your purpose. It still aligns in that. Like, everything is intentional in your spirit, like everything. So there are no like, there are no like, what is it called? It's not a at random. It's not at random. Like, if you recognize when you just mesh with somebody, like, spirit doesn't send you people that don't, like, align with what, like, burns your soul on fire. Like, it doesn't, whatever sets your soul ablaze, spirit is not going to send you people that don't resonate with that, right? Like, so whenever you are thinking about divine partnership, whenever you're asking, what kind of partner am I, to myself, most importantly, because your biggest responsibility is to yourself. So let's just break it down from the self first. Like, if you are evaluating, am I showing up for me? Am I being honest with myself? Do I have frequent communication with myself? Am I in a space to be open to receive and to give freely to myself? Because a lot of us out here self-sacrificing for the sake of partnership that we ain't got no business doing that, right? So if we take it back to the cellular level, the self level, we think about, am I taking care of my mental, my emotional, my physical, my spiritual? Am I covering those bases? Right? So, like, that's the first devotion. Then, like, everything else aligns with that. Everything else aligns with that. We don't have to force anything outside of us to align with that. Like, if you take care of all of those things, and then the people, places, and things outside of you don't align with that, they're gonna fall off naturally. One thing I love to watch is things falling off to the wayside or exiting my life intentionally because I'm doing me, because I'm taking care of me, because that lets me know that you have seen your way out. You recognize this energy is communicating with mine, and mine is saying, hey, you ain't on this frequency, and that's okay, boo. That's all right. We're not in a, like, we have done our purpose, right? Like, I've learned what I need to learn from this, you know, vice versa. Because if I was resonating with something that isn't in alignment with my purpose, then I clearly learned something from it, right? So, like, I'm recognizing where I may have self-sacrificed or forgot to put out my boundaries or didn't communicate clearly. Like, these are all reflections of me. So if I'm not doing that with myself, then I'm probably not doing that with anybody else out of me. So bringing it back internally first is always key. And then, because, like, our soul and our spirit, it's all connected. It's one. But in this physical plane, like, we're communicating, right? So if I'm listening to my spirit, if I'm receptive to my spirit, if I am communicating that, if I'm creating healthy boundaries for myself, because trust me, physical me sometimes wants to do shit that spirit me, we just ain't got no, we ain't in alignment with that. We ain't got no business doing that, right? So like I have to put myself in check too. And it's like that's okay. That's clear and healthy boundaries and communications for me. I recognize, okay, what is aiding me? What is putting me at a disadvantage? What is hurting me? Like these are questions that I ask a lot in that self-reflecting space. And when I break it down into, you know, my partnerships with other people, I recognize that, all of everybody, no matter if the season is a long season, if it's, you know, a few months, a few years, my whole life, it doesn't matter how long that something is present. It's presented for a reason and it's resonating with me for a reason. So it's always in purpose. It's always intentional, whether we recognize it or not. And so I think about that a lot, especially in this year where we're analyzing what is bringing balance and what is that divine expression? What is that harmony? What does that harmony look like? What does it feel like? How do what resonates with me at that place of peace with myself? And if something is not resonating with my peace, then I need to let that go. It doesn't matter if it's a person, a job, the place that you live. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to let go of something. And the moment that you do, it makes room for everything else that is in alignment with you. Like, I say this all the time to my clients. They probably going to listen to this and laugh. But I always use this analogy of like your blessings are in a plane and your life is the landing strip. You got the landing strip for your blessings to come down and for you to physically see it, right? Because like everything that's for you has already happened. It's tangible. It's already there, but you may not physically see it or feel it tangibly until it lands. And so it has to come down on this frequency to present itself. And sometimes we got a plane that's coming in, but we got all this stuff on the landing strip, so the plane can't land. The plane can't land. The plane, the plane can't land, and then we're like, "Where's the blessing? Where's the blessing? Where's the blessing?" And Spirit is like, "Are you gonna make room for me? Are you gonna make room for the blessing? Are you gonna make room for all of the things that you've asked for? Are you going to clear your landing strip?" Right? So like clearing our lives out is so important of all the things that don't resonate, because in that moment we immediately create room for something bigger. We create room for even better partnership, even better, jobs, even better business opportunities, quote unquote, or opportunities in purpose, like collaborations. We connect on deeper and more intimate levels when we stop settling for any and everything that doesn't resonate in purpose or like what resonates with our peace and our joy. So like the moment we stop doing that, it makes all the difference. And it's like it's not that you're not going to get what you asked for. It's going to come. But eventually the plane is going to run out of gas and it's going to be like, "All right, I'm landing. I don't care what I hit though." So you got this big old building, or you got this shaky foundation, or you got this relationship. Your blessings run into that and it showers in your life, but you may not even be able to recognize it because you're like, "Why is this building on fire?" Well, because your blessings had to land somewhere and it was in the way, right? So like whatever you holding on to, if it's in the way, it's you gonna have to focus on why that is, like it's a reason why that is crumbling, because it was not where it was supposed to be. It's fading out. It's not relevant to where you going next. It's not in alignment with what is bigger and better for you. And so that gives me a lot of perspective a lot of the times, like when spirit shows me that, and I just be like, "You right." You're right. I need to go ahead and let that go. Like I need to stop playing on that, like I need to stop settling. And sometimes it could be a little bit difficult to be in a place of faith and trust in that, especially when we have been in a place of hurt in receiving and being in a place of not being able to be receptive, or when we've constantly given and given and given and the reciprocity has not been present in partnership. Like it can definitely be difficult to trust. It can be difficult to, affirm to ourselves. That can be a place of opportunity for us, not necessarily a challenge, but quote unquote, but like the place of opportunity is to recognize that you need to be open to receive greater before you receive greater. Because the greater could be coming and you could be like, no, no, I don't trust that. I don't want that. I don't want nothing. I'm sick and tired. I'm tired of being sick, and I'm sick of being tired. Okay, like, and like when we're in that place of not being open to receive, like the heart space is, we're not resonating with what brings us joy. We're not resonating with that inner child, and that's often where the healing takes place. Because to be open to receive and open to give is where the abundance lives. And like that attitude of gratitude is what is, it's the language of abundance. It's the language of abundance. So um like just reflecting on, am I open to give? Am I open to receive? Am I discerning of who and what is deserving of, you see, the, for anybody watching the video, the incense smoke is just coming in right now. Spirit is approving the message. Um, but like, am I open to receive? Am I open to give? Am I in a place of discerning, is the reciprocity present? And how we can do that in partnership is by observing. Um, if you are looking to do business or like work in your passion and purpose with somebody, or if you're looking to cultivate a connection with somebody, look at how they treat themselves. Do they take time to themselves? Do they take care of their health? Like, does their energy match their actions and their words? Like, are they honest with themselves? Like these are all things that I look for before I ever step into that place of partnership. Like, and when it feels right, it feels right. Like I trust that too, because I trust me. I trust me enough to be like, well, my intuition says it's good and my discernment is checking out, so let's get it. I have no reason but to be open. Like I have no other reason to not trust me, because I have proven to me every single time that I know what I'm doing. I have I have proven to me that I can do no wrong with that. Like I might make choices where I have to deal with the consequences, but still in that I still trust me. And if I'm listening, like if I've learned from the decisions that I have made, which I have, then what other reason do I have? Like what other outcome is there but to trust me? But to trust that I know who is good for me. Like if my eyes are open to that, I can see the red flags. I don't have rose colored glasses on. I'm not attached or emotionally invested in things. Emotions are fleeting, and emotions are good to be present with. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Feel the passion, feel like the intensity of things. Like, that's still good, but I don't let emotions sweep me. Emotions can't control me. And so, like, I feel them, I observe them, I let them go, but I don't let emotions dictate my decisions. And so, when you're at that place where emotions aren't dictating you and your discernment is and your intuition is guiding you, then what do you have to be afraid for? What is there to be afraid of? Nothing. You have nothing to be afraid of. Nothing at all. You are safe. You are secure. You are exactly where you need to be. What greater joy is there but to be present with that in that moment? Like, that's so divine. So divine. That is so divine. I'm gonna take y'all get this ASMR. Mm. Thank you to the spirit of water for nourishing my cells. Mm. Nourishing my throat. Mm. Yes. Like, I have dealt with a lot of fear and um said no a lot in my life, in places where hurt was dictating my decisions, where pain was a baggage that I carried with me. It was something that burdened my shoulders for a long time. And there were moments where I recognized that, yes, I said no to some things that weren't for me, you know, but I also said no to some opportunities that were good for me, you know? And that's okay too. I respect the journey, all aspects of my journey. All of my journey matters. I don't discredit any part of it, and I honored the space that I was in when I was hurt in that space, like afraid to trust, afraid to love, afraid to give, afraid to receive. Like I've even recognized where sometimes, uh, even in the past year and a half, like I had opened myself up to assistance and I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't ask myself essential questions, and I was still moving and navigating the spaces of self-care. And I still am every day. Every day, like different stages and different versions of us require different self-care. Like it requires different dialogue, different conversation, So like we're never not growing in that. Like we're always growing in that. We're always expanding in that. And I think a lot of the conversation really needs to be about releasing attachment towards something being forever. Partnership does not need to be forever all the time. Like seasonal partnerships are equally as important as something that's quote unquote lifelong. Like some of my most influential moments have been with people who only came and went for a few months. And I had to grieve the loss of those relationships, or those connections or those partnerships, but I also had to celebrate them. Just as I have missed them, I have honored what they came to do because they came in purpose, right? So recognizing that without the attachment to whatever the outcome is going to be, honoring the process. A lot of us want to control this big idea of an outcome, right? And some of us have goals and things that we want to achieve with certain people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in the process of working with someone, with my baby, for example, like Soul Drive is my baby. So, well, my toddler now, I guess, going on 5. But, working with somebody with my toddler is like it's like a parent who is like, "Are you gonna take care of my kid?" You know, Are you going to properly, make sure they eat on time or go to bed? Are you going to make sure they're not hurt or poisoning themselves? Are you endangering what I'm doing, like what I've built? And that's even more scary sometimes for people who have built something all on their own for so long. And then you have to sit here and question, like, are my foundations strong enough for the possibility that this person may do something that could potentially, not be in a, like, not position me like, not position a good outcome, per se. Like, good and bad is subjective, but for example, so like if we think about business wise, like me working with somebody, um with my social media, with my clients, like somebody could I could be working with somebody, and worst case scenario, they post something that, doesn't reflect positively on me. I have to be, like, that's worst case scenario, but I want to I have to be honest with myself and say, you know what, if that does happen, I'm not going to speak that it does, but if that does happen, I'm prepared for whatever that is, and I have to also give grace because nobody is perfect. We're pure, not perfect. And that's in the words of Londrell, like, I think about that a lot because we also have to be willing to maneuver these situations that may seem unfavorable, but they can also be teaching moments between, applying what we have learned. Like that would mean me communicating with the public and also communicating with whoever I'm working with in a way that is, graceful, honest, all of the ways that I communicate with me, right? And I can't achieve that companionship. I can't achieve that level of companionship unless I do it to myself. So, in the moments where I have done things or said things or reflected on things that quote unquote may have hurt my image or hurt whatever the case is, in the past, I had to be graceful with myself. Like, I don't bully myself anymore like I used to. I used to bully me. And so now I'm in a place I don't bully me. I'm not going to bully anybody who works with me. I'm not going to curse you out. Even if somebody was to steal from me, like, okay, you can't have access to me no more. But I damn sure ain't finna step outside of myself because at the end of the day, like, justice is gonna be served and the intention is gonna be present. Like, however I need to handle the situation is gonna be handled, and spirit will guide that. So, like, trusting, that takes a lot of trust in oneself. And what I recommend for people that do have babies like I do, or do have something that they're working on, or like whatever the case may be, is to like do trusting exercises with yourself. And the best way to do that is to start listening to your intuition on an everyday basis. Write those things down. Like, a lot of the times I tell people, like, if you feel something, write it down. Right? Just write it down. Like, then when the time comes, you can reflect on that and say, you know what? That did come into fruition. Or like, that did, like, I was reading this energy like that. Right? So, like, we can reaffirm and show ourselves countless times, excuse me, and even in the moments where we don't listen to our intuitions, write that down, because then we're going to say, you know what? I showed myself that I was right, even though I didn't make that choice. Like, it helps us to better trust ourselves. Like, working with the solar plexus, trusting, recognizing your power, just like taking responsibility for yourself, showing up for yourself. That's reinforcing your personal power more than anything else. Like that personal power, it helps you to navigate partnership. It helps you to stand firm in your foundations of self so that you're not lost in the sauce of partnership. A lot of us get so distracted by wanting to be validated and to feel worthy of someone else. Like, even in quote unquote business or working in partnership in purpose, like I could get a deal with somebody who has, who could be famous, for example. And the moment that I start comparing or seeking validation from that person, like I'm already giving my power away. I'm already seeking something outside of myself, and that's not right. That's discrediting who I am. I am divine, just as they are. Like there's no need. Comparison is the thief of joy. And looking for validation, anyone outside of myself is set up for self-sabotage. So like knowing these things is what helps to navigate that. It helps to identify and recognize, I don't have to sign up, I don't have to subscribe to that. I choose what I subscribe to. So if I was to work with someone who's already famous or whatever the case is, my worth does not change. If anything, like I'm just in alignment because I'm famous. I'm already like what what difference is it? Like I'm still, the worth does not change. It never has. Just because you don't physically see something, it's only because you may have not recognized it in yourself, or you are making preparations for that physical thing or tangible thing to align and take place. It doesn't change anything about your divinity or who you are. And just being in the place of remembrance of that is so important. It helps us to better navigate our relationships. Like I used to get so lost in relationships, like losing myself, taking on the face of my partners, and going back to observing, like I've learned to observe people to you know, recognize the red flags, the green flags, how they move in their life. And however you move in your life lets me know where to position you. It lets me know what can I take stock in, because I know I'm not going to invest my own personal energy in spaces where I'm not going to be reciprocated. I'm not, because I'm deserving of that, unless spirit takes me into those spaces. But you're not going to get personal time with me in that space. Like there's levels to access, you know, and being in a place of self-reflection where you could say, this can only have this amount of access to me, because if I give you if I show you everything, or if I give you access to everything and you don't value it, it's because you don't know your own worth. And if you don't recognize you worthy, you're not gonna see my worth. So you're gonna mistreat what is golden. You gonna misstep. And at that point, I have allowed you, with the knowledge of the possible disrespect, to come into my space. And that's not caring for me. And so being able to reassess, being able to see like how people move in their own lives is so important. And that will and even like in business, like how people treat their own creations. If you don't charge your worth, or if you don't, do equal exchange, or if you don't, however you move in your creations and your projects and your divine expression, that lets me know. Like, it lets me know, are you going to value working with me? Are you going to value whatever we create together? Because I take responsibility for me. Are you going to be responsible for what you create? Are you going to respect my time, my energy? Do you respect your own? Do you see what you do as valuable? Do you see what you do as worth it? Like, that's important. And that speaks on all levels, whether it's platonic or business, but I had to learn that I needed to be open to what was in alignment with that divinity, alignment with that purpose, alignment with what gets my soul excited, like, and being in the presence of other people who live in their joy, who live in their peace, who take care of themselves. Like, those are the only people I'm gonna work with. And so I trust me to make that decision. I trust me. In the moment where it don't feel right, it's okay. I didn't make any wrong decisions. I just read the energy. Things change, and that's okay. I take a step back, move on back, and I let it be what it is. Like, there's no attachment there, and there doesn't have to be. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with a lovely affirmation. I usually do um in the beginning, but I was just so excited, y'all. But this affirmation is, I am at peace with the past and curious for what will be revealed. I approach life with an open mind, knowing that there is an infinite possibility for me. I trust that everything in my life is for me, by me. I am in alignment with my highest good. Mm. Breathe that in. I'm going to speak that one more time. I am at peace with my past and curious for what will be revealed. I approach life with an open mind, knowing that there is infinite possibility for me. I trust that everything in my life is for me, by me. I am in alignment with my highest good. And that's that. That's that piece. If you would like to be featured on our newsletter, for any of your written works on the mind, body, spirit, any type of topics that are surrounding what our brand does and for the betterment of our community, feel free to send it in to our email, which is going to be in the description. Please continue supporting what we do. Thank you so much for sharing this energy, this vibe with me. I've had a wonderful time just being in the presence, being in the presence as I am the gift. But I love you guys. The divine loves you. And I'm looking forward to next time. Thank you so much.